In this video, I want to give you a housing market update for May 2021 and explain why the property market hasn't crashed yet, and is the property market going to crash? So my name's Simon Zutshi. I'm the founder of the Property Investor Network. I'm the author of Property Magic, the Amazon #1 bestseller. And I've been investing for 25 years. And you know what's happening right now has taken many people by surprise. Since about March 2020, when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, we've had an incredible property boom. Now, I've done these videos before. Let me just remind you why I believe the property market is booming. Now, it's interesting that the Bank of England predicted that in 2020, because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the recession that happened, in the second quarter of March 2020, we had a terrible recession, the worst in 300 years. And the Bank of England said, you know what? We're going to see a 16% drop in property prices. Now, no one knows how much it's going to drop, but that seemed pretty fair to me, given the fact that so many businesses were shut, so many people were going to lose their jobs. Now, the government very wisely intervened, and they brought in the Furlough scheme, which means that people who would have been made unemployed because their job didn't exist anymore, they were put onto furlough. So they get to sit at home, they earn 80% of their salary. Now, it's pretty scary for those people. There's the uncertainty, but still, it could have been a lot worse, right? So that massively helped. Then the government decided, look, we need to stimulate the property market here, because the UK economy is made up mainly of the retail sector, which was hit massively, and also the property sector. If property was hit as well, that would have a devastating effect on the UK economy. So they introduced the stamp duty holiday, and they said up to the end of March 2021, all purchases up to 500,000 had no stamp duty for first-time buyers, and if you were selling a house and buying another, property investors, we still pay our 3%. So there is a saving there. So this caused an incredible boom. And also the fact that normally there's a bit of a boom in the spring and one in the summer. Well, the property market shut for 12 weeks from March, April, and that caused a lot of transactions that were going through to be delayed. I had one purchase and I had 3 remortgages supposed to go through, and nothing happens on them for pretty much 3 months. And everything stopped. And this COVID-19 was a massive shock to everyone. Now, the second time we had a lockdown, the property market was open, and obviously things could move forward just as well because the market boomed. And another reason was there were lots of people who took out bounce back loans and CBIL loans. They had extra money, which wasn't supposed to be used for property, but I'm pretty sure some of that was used as deposits. So the stimulation to save money for first-time buyers, the stimulation to all this extra money coming into the economy, and the sense of security that obviously people who are on furlough, this gave a lot of confidence in a pretty scary time, and the property market boomed. Now, I expected the property market was going to crash at the end of 2020 based on furlough ending in October 2020. And that's what I was that's what I was saying last year. I'll be perfectly open about that. Then the government extended furlough to March, April 2021. And then in March 2021, they extended out to September. They also extended the stamp duty holiday. So they said for purchases up to 500,000, an extra 3 months, so to the end of June 2021, and for purchases up to 250,000, 6 months, so to the end of September 2021. So they're kind of phasing it out rather than having this drop off the cliff, which is what a lot of people are worried about. Now, the reality is that solicitors and conveyancers are all very busy at the moment, and the market is booming, but they're struggling to get everything done. The extension was pretty good because they probably wouldn't have met the end of March deadline. And so even if you speak to a solicitor now, they're very busy. So this boom seems to be continuing. But here are the things we need to look out for. And to be perfectly honest, I don't know what's going to happen in the property market. You don't know. For goodness sake, the Bank of England got it wrong. And actually, they have economists and statisticians who work this stuff out. So when governments interfere, we don't really know what's going to happen. So based on what we do know at the moment, stamp duty scheduled to end at the end of June. There's going to be a bit of a rush to that. Now, 250 is still probably the average house price in the UK. So for first-time buyers outside of London, that will still work for them. So there will be some first-time buyers who will still be completing up until September. And actually, if someone's a first-time buyer, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to buy property. They're going to take longer than a serious professional investor who can do things pretty quickly. Allowance obviously by the lawyers. So I think we're going to see this continue, but we're going to see the market start to slow down. And if we go to furlough in September, I'm concerned what might happen after that. Now, my personal prediction, and who knows, but I feel that as the UK market is opening up and the restrictions around COVID-19 are starting to ease, we're following the government's plan. Things seem to be going to time at the moment, and we'll know really by, I think, the 21st of June if that's happened completely. But I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot more people out. The roads seem really, really busy, lots of traffic. People aren't taking public transport as much. Kids are back at school. People are going out to pubs in the evening, sitting outside, obviously. And there's a whole load of people who've got money in the bank that they've not been spending because they couldn't go and spend it. That money is a pent-up demand, and it's going to go into retail. It's going to go into leisure. If you've tried to book a staycation anywhere in the UK, so we can't really travel overseas at the moment, everywhere's pretty much booked. There are some places available, but they're all really expensive. So this is going to see a massive boom in the economy in the summer. Now, the question is, how is that going to affect the UK property market and property prices in 2021? Who knows? I mean, I think we're going to see some businesses that maybe were in the danger of closing. They're going to have a really good summer, and that might be enough to support them. But you've got to think about all the time when those businesses were shut and they didn't have revenue coming in. They were still paying for their premises and things, and they just weren't generating profit. I think we're going to see a lot of businesses close. And when furlough does end, and the government might extend it further, but back in March, they released figures. They'd spent about £280 billion supporting the economy. Now, it's going to be a lot more by the time we get to March, but they can't keep doing that. The Chancellor's budget was actually, I think, pretty good to stimulate the market, not penalising people too much, but in the future, we're going to have to all pay more taxes because we need to somehow pay for all the money the government spent supporting everyone through this COVID-19 pandemic crisis. So it's going to have to take its toll at some point, but who knows when that's going to be. My money, unless things change, is probably at the end of this year when the furlough ends and those extra transactions have petered out. I think we'll see the market start to slow. Now, are we going to have a big crash? Personally, I don't think it's going to be a big crash. But after every boom, there is always a correction. So what does it mean for you as a property investor? Should we be buying now or should we wait? It's a great question if you think about it. My view is that if we find a property that works right now, then actually we should buy it. If it meets our criteria, gives us the cash flow, the return on investment, buy the property now. I was speaking to a friend of mine who is in Australia, and he was saying he's been waiting to buy property, thinking the market was going to crash, and he's just missed the last 5 years of phenomenal growth they've had over in Australia. So if we kind of sometimes wait, thinking I'm going to wait for the crash, it might not be a good thing to do. People sometimes say, yeah, but Simon, if we buy now and then the market crashes, is it possible that the property we buy is going to be worth less in maybe a year than we're buying it for now? Yes, that's a possibility. Does that mean they've lost money? No, not unless they try and sell the property. If you follow the 5 golden rules I talk about in Property Magic, and there are videos on this channel all about the 5 golden rules, you'll see that if we follow rule 2, 3, and 4, so we buy in an area of strong rental demand, and we buy a property that's going to make us great cash flow, and we buy for the long term, it doesn't matter the short-term fluctuations. Property prices go up, they come down. But over the long term, especially in the UK, we live on this island with a limited amount of accommodation and an increasing population. Now, obviously, the population has been a bit affected. We've had some people leave because of Brexit. We've had some people obviously dying because of COVID-19, dying prematurely. But overall, we are seeing a longer life expectancy. We're seeing increased birth rates. This means over the long time, the population is increasing and getting older. So this means we don't have enough accommodation. The government figures suggest we need 300,000 new homes in the UK every single year. And the UK is pretty good at building about 200,000 new homes. So therefore, there's not enough supply. So over the long term, we see property prices come up, and also we see rents go up as well. Now, all this money that's been put into the economy is going to cause inflation in the future. Now, for general consumers, inflation is not a good thing because prices go up. As property investors, inflation is actually pretty good for 2 reasons. First of all, as the cost of living goes up, rents will also go up. So that's good for us. The other thing is that if prices go up and the cost of living goes up, we're borrowing a certain amount of money on our buy-to-let mortgages. And we borrow that money for a period of time, maybe 20 years. And we might borrow £200,000. Well, in 20 years' time, £200,000 buys a lot less when we've had inflation. So the debt is actually eroded by inflation. I hope the values have gone up a lot so we could sell a property and completely pay the debt, or we could obviously remortgage. So actually inflation is good for us as investors. The only problem is that sometimes the Bank of England or the central banks will use interest rates to control inflation. When inflation is getting too high, they raise the interest rates, which cools the economy down. So a risk we have as property investors is potentially interest rates going up in the future. I don't think they're going to go anywhere for a couple of years because we need the economy to recover, but at some point I expect rates are going to go up. So what a lot of people do is they fix their mortgage rate. They might pay a slightly higher interest rate, but they can fix it for 2, 5, or sometimes longer. So personally, I can't give you advice. What I'm doing on all my mortgages, for my purchases and also my remortgages at the moment, I'm fixing for 5 years. A couple of years will be all right, but who knows in 3, 4 years' time where interest rates will be. So that's what I'm doing with my property. I am buying property right now. Even in a booming market, there are deals you can find. I've done other videos on this YouTube channel about that. So go and check out some of the other videos. I'm sure you'll find lots of great information. If you've enjoyed this video, please tick the like button and put a comment, and I'll come back and answer some of those if I can. Maybe you want to subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon as well. So whenever we bring a new video out, normally at least twice a week, you'll get notified and won't miss any of the great valuable content we're sharing. There's a huge number of videos on here about lots of different types of strategies. I'm sure there'll be something relevant for you, whether you're an experienced investor or quite new to property investing. I put a lot of free information out. I want to help you. I've been doing this a very long time. A lot of people have only been investing since the market's been booming. But I was there investing, teaching my students when the property market crashed in 2008, 2009. You need to do it in a different way. So get ready for that. The market's going to dip. It's going to crash, but we're going to have a correction. You heard it here. It's going to happen at some point. I just don't know when that's going to be. So I do hope you got value from this. As ever, I'd encourage you to invest with knowledge, invest with skill. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon, hit the like, put a comment. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I do hope you've got massive value from watching this YouTube video. And if you have, I've got a recommendation for you how you can get a whole load of extra quality training from me at no cost. So I have the Property Magic podcast that comes out every Tuesday morning. It's completely free of charge. And I share some of the secrets that I normally only share on my Property Mastermind program. So you can click on the link below in the description to get access to this podcast, or you can just go and look on iTunes, you can pick it up, or if you've got an Android phone, go to Google Play, or even on Spotify. And I highly recommend you subscribe to that podcast because it's a short 10 to 15 minutes every Tuesday morning. You'll have me in your ear, motivating you, sharing some of the best strategies. And we've got well over 70 episodes there, so you can go and binge on those. And I promise you, if you listen to all of those, maybe one a day for a couple of months, you will know far more than the average investor in the UK. So go and check out the Property Magic podcast. And I've also lined up another video for you to watch, which I think you're going to find really useful. So invest with knowledge, invest with skill. I'll see you in the next video.